And people like the one who is the friend is just using them.
Tune into UBC Radio for credible socio-economic program. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody's problem.
It's balance.
Not the stage at which to tax a commodity down there.
It's intellectual.
Provides that the land must be registered as, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Season 2, live and syndicated on you. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show.
To this edition of UBC Ground Zero, we're broadcasting live on 98.0 FM, UBC Radio, here at Nile Avenue. You who is on the other side of radio, and those who are following us online. We are streaming live on YouTube. You just enter UBC Ground Zero, and you'll be part of this very important conversation. And we're also live and clear on 4 radio stations covering entire Uganda. We are on 98.0 FM in Kampala, and Rua 97.4 FM, and Lila we're 99.4 FM. That is Western Nile FM. We are also live and clear on another radio station called Butebo Radio. We are live on 96.9 FM in Soroti, 98.4 FM. We are also 90. A big privilege and honor to have you. And I'm glad to have been joined by a special team of guests in the studios of UBC to discuss our today's topic. And we're talking about Attaining is the day dedicated to the young people, especially the youth, globally. District on 18th this very month, and I'm glad that today we're going to be discussing the contributions that you know to the whole world in you. My special guest, I have a very big municipal corporation forum of the BRICS in Uganda. Her Excellency Chimere Patricia, welcome to the show. Uganda, Her Excellency Chimere Patricia, welcome to the show. A big privilege and honor to have you. A big privilege and honor to have you.
Thank you.
All right. I also have another interesting guest in the studios of UBC. Many people want him to be a member of parliament because of his views and ideas and what he has been agitating for as far as this country is concerned. He's a man that I've known for serving this country in different capacities, but especially when it comes to the youth. The man is Moses Kidega, is the Secretary for Labor in National Youth Council. A big privilege and honor to have you.
Thank you very much, Aaron. I must confess that those are very kind words, and I'm sure the listener who is out there must be very curious to know who this Kidega man after you're given, that very elaborate introduction. But well, I'm very happy to be here, and good morning to our viewers. But also just to mention that on top of putting on my beautiful Ondumparaka jersey, I'm also blessed today in an Arsenal kit, and Arsenal is playing today. So to the Arsenal supporters, cheers.
Hope this time you're going to have it. In the studio, I also have the privilege and honor to have a student representative. We've been talking about the youth, and most of the youth aged 15 and between 15 and 30 are still undergoing school, and we have the representative here. And is a Guild Prime Minister from Victoria University. Is called Roy Ulgumayo. A big privilege and honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Comrade Amon, for the invitation, and I'm also glad to be on the show with such distinguished colleagues whose lessons I'm not.
Have a very interesting conversation here. We are live and clear and for radio stations covering entire Uganda, UBC Radio, UBC Table in eastern parts of this country. We are live and clear on Western Nile FM in Teso sub-region and Western Nile sub-region, Lango and Acholi sub-regions and some parts of Karamoja. We also live and clear on Majikwan FM covering central parts of this country. Ampaire Amon Otega is my name, and our topic of discussion today in Ground Zero from COVID-19. We are looking at the youth and the role of the youth in achieving this. Let me start with you, Your Excellency, the Ambassador. We all talk about COVID. We were affected, I don't think that we were affected equally, but when we talk about the disease, we must know how bad this disease was, in that we can get to know how we can prepare ourselves to avoid the future challenges that may come, not with COVID-19, but when we are faced with the same challenge. How were you affected by this challenge? But before we go into the agenda 2030, and we are looking at the role of the youth, those are three key words that we are going to look up to in this discussion. But before, we would love to know what is the forum about. I mean, the International Municipal Cooperation Forum of the BRICS, and would love to know how Uganda as a country are benefiting from your efforts and your representation. Ambassador.
Thank you, Amon. Once again, my name is Patricia Kishemere, and delighted to take on the title Her Excellence in the capacity of Special Representative Ambassador of the Forum of the International Municipal Forum of the BRICS countries here in Uganda. The International Municipal Forum of the BRICS countries basically is a platform that fosters cooperation between municipalities, intergovernmental institutions, and other companies in BRICS countries with those in our countries like Uganda. When this forum was first made under the auspices of the BRICS countries, the first 7 African countries that were included, Uganda was part, and so they went ahead to appoint special representatives to link Ugandan government institutions, companies, and cities and municipalities, especially to the opportunities in BRICS countries. And it's one of my core roles as the special representative. Also on the sidelines of this forum, managers of small and medium enterprises are able to sign agreements, are able to get partnerships, and are able to go ahead and mobilize funding for their companies and businesses. But also, it's very important because there are a lot of opportunities in BRICS countries. BRICS countries are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and they make almost 40% of the world's population. And so the opportunities in these countries are very many that we can tap into as a country. And my core role is to link Uganda as a country, government institutions, business leaders, and managers of companies to these opportunities in these countries. So basically, that is what the forum is about. And when you look at the objectives of the BRICS, most of the objectives are also at the heart of the African Union. And I must say, if I would refer to the current issue of withdrawal of World Bank, it tells us as Ugandans and Africans that we need to renew our integration with the world outside. Because if our integration or the cooperations or the partnerships we have made with countries do not have the well-being or the interests of our people at the center, then it's very problematic. It does not mean that as a country or as Africa, we need to withdraw or to deglobalize, because we cannot be fully self-sufficient as a country and as a country that is still developing. But it means that we now have to do it the right way. We have to create corporations that have interests of our people at the center. We have to create corporations that are more strengthening and capacity building for our countries. We have to create corporations that make us as a country to see that we are truly cooperating and not competing, or it's not a give and take, especially if it has to do with the fabric humanity of our people. It means that we have to make corporations where the interests of our people are at the center. And more importantly, is to say that we need to make corporations that strengthen us as a country. COVID-19 pandemic was one of the things that made us realize that we cannot deeply depend on global supply chains, especially for in certain sectors we have to be sufficient, and therefore it's our part, it's our it's our it's our it's our calling as a country to go out there and make cooperations and make partnerships and globalize with countries that can be able to give us capacity building as a country, that in times when we have shocks like these, we can be able to interdepend on these countries and not be able to sell the human. Can say most people call it the new era, others call it the new world order. But sure, as a country, if we have the right motivations, and because of what our leaders, our forefathers and our current president and our current leaders have already created these international relations with countries in BRICS. Therefore, I must say that we need to capitalize on these and see what we can bring for our country.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Listening to that, one would not allow you to stop, but listen to much more of that because of the current international politics and the relevance of Africa, but also the contribution of African countries. Interesting. Moses Chidega, what is occupying you at National Youth Council?
Thank you very much, Amon. What is occupying us is that we are preoccupied with the need and the fact that young people and their challenges continue to be a fundamental issue in this country. And the National Youth Council that draws its mandate from the National Youth Council Act is unyieldingly in the field, trying to see that the issues of youth unemployment, the issues that young people face with regards to the skilling gap, the issues that young people face with regards to access to sexual reproductive health for our young girls who have unfortunately found themselves, in the injustice of getting pregnant. But Amon, just before I delve into what the National Youth Council is doing, just with your indulgence and with your latitude, allow me just make one or two comments regarding the International Youth Day and perhaps a background as to why we find ourselves commemorating this day in the first place. You may recall that Uganda is a signatory to the African Youth Charter. The African Youth Charter enjoins member states to in fact, administer affirmative action ventures to groups that. The African Youth Charter, of course, it is youth centered. Therefore, it enjoins member states to administer affirmative action for the youth, and this comes at the backdrop of the historical injustices that young people faced because of the social, economic, and political exclusion that they found themselves being a part of, unfortunately. So the National Youth Council was established at the backdrop of the African Youth Charter, cognizant of the need to empower young people in terms of decision making and ensuring that their voices are heard and captured when the country is taking decisions that are meant to last us a lifetime. So that is the background. And of course, the United Nations in 2000 found it prudent that there is need to set aside a day to commemorate the youth of this world, taking stock of the gains and challenges that we have registered over time in all spheres of life, be it social, economic, and political, and that it's important that the efforts of young people is recognized, but also they're supported to achieve even much, much better. So the National Council is cognizant of the challenges that young people face in this country, and like I've already hinted on some of them, and our core mission, and we are part of the driving force that is